I think. All right, welcome back to another episode of Island Bowl, episode 19. And man, we got a lot to talk about. We got some good stuff today. We're gonna just be recapping some of the games. I know we didn't react to, I think it was game five and game six. So we'll be talking just a little bit about our overall thoughts and but mainly just talking about game seven that we're gonna get, NBA Finals game seven. First game seven since, I mean, what, 2016, Cavs Warriors in the
hmm
finals, I mean. But yeah. Um That's
I
all.
mean, shout out the Pacers for making this a series. I
Yeah.
know the Thunder were overwhelming favorites. Um, it's just it's really fun to watch as the outside viewer. I wasn't really a Pacers fan before this series, but it's like a total, like, not to sound like cliche or corny, but it's really like a total team effort. Like
Mm,
on every they have, like, basically they're playing 10 deep on any given night. Shout out TJ McConnell, he's really stepped up.
yeah.
His energy, rebounds. He had 4 steals last game. I think 2 games ago, he had 5 steals. Just a little mid-range shot, playing 94 feet. And they're just so, like, they just always have someone that's that's fast. Halliburton's hurt. He only played 23 minutes, but even he, I think, had a solid game and a nice pass to Siakam for that dunk. So it's just the Pacers have a good brand of basketball. And the Thunder are a great team too. We both talked about it before. Like, they should have won this series, but I mean, Game 7, anything can happen. So that's why it's like, as a Thunder, you don't. I mean, you could say shout out to the Thunder too for making it, but they're the favorites. Like Game 7, even though if the Thunder are the better team, like, anyone can win. Good shooting night from Pacers, they can win. So yeah.
Yeah, just the one thing on the Thunder side where I wouldn't be concerned. I mean, just even though they've had a bunch of these inconsistencies where it's like they go game seven against the Nuggets where they shouldn't, they go game seven here and whatnot. And
Mhm.
they're losing a lot of these games where they shouldn't. Just whenever they're back against the wall and they like need to win, they've just come through, especially just because their defense just kicks up to another level. Like game two was a must win at home after they lost game one in the series, and we saw what they did. They won by like 30, 20. And same thing in
Yeah.
the Nuggets series. So there's always that, but like you said, game seven, anything could happen. And I expect Shea to be good, expect J-Dub to bounce back, I mean, he just had a great game at home, even though he kind of struggled. I mean, didn't he have, I think yeah, he had the worst plus minus in finals history this past game after, so that's not great, but he's going to be back at home, so I expect him to bounce back in a good way. It's just for me, it's just I'm concerned about Chet. I mean, just the way
He's been
he's
around.
playing.
Yeah.
He's just not been showing up at all. And I mean, luckily for them, Miles Turner just can't hit anything. But
hmm
um, but yeah, I mean that'd be the one thing. If I'd be feeling great if I was an Indiana fan. Um, just the one thing is just we've seen the Thunder in these spots so many times where it's a must win, and they've just been getting to the next level. But I mean, if the Pacers can just somehow just deal with that defensive intensity they're gonna have, I mean they can win this game easily.
Yeah, I mean, I know you said the Thunder have been in situations like this and they seem to pull through. But I mean, the Pacers haven't been like the Game 7, but I feel like when their backs against the wall, they actually pull through too.
Mm.
Like, even in that Game 1, I know it's only Game 1, but they're down by a lot. They came back, and then Halliburton hit that tough shot. So that's where it's like, these are two, like, teams that are clutch, that down the stretch, I feel like they can pull through. So I'm excited. And then looping it back to Chet, I'm really worried because I know he tweaked his ankle a couple times in that one game. He's kind of frail. They're all, like, banged up and
Yeah.
stuff, but, like, Chet, like, at the beginning of the season was, like, supposed to be like, well, him and J-Dub were, probably second and third best players, but I think Chet, with that injury, I think it was the one where Wiggins bodied with the
Yeah,
shit.
that was yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think he still had a good season, but, like, he didn't take the leap that I think he would have if he was healthy. And then in the playoffs, he's actually had some good moments, but in these finals, he's just been really, like, he's been straight up not good. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you had, like, what he should be, or if you had like a really good shed, like this might not be like this might be like a 5 game series, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. But J-Dub, I know he had whatever the worst. That's actually kind of crazy. I'm not worried about J-Dub. I think he's had a really good finals. Um, the role players, I mean, people say like there's like a saying like the role players play better at home. So, Case and Wallace, Caruso, I think with that home crowd, just like the Pacers home crowd, their role players, Obi Toppin and stuff, even Shepherd at that three. I think the role players will really step up for OKC, so that might be the difference. It's just that's why even though I want the Pacers to win, I think the Thunder will win because I think those role players will step up.
Yeah.
So,
And I think another thing that come into play is in game sevens, they really like they don't really blow a whistle.
mm,
They like
yeah.
the guys to play, which can just really help that. I mean, that Thunder defense, especially Lou Dort at Crew, so they're aggressive. I think
Hmm.
some of the calls, like in Game Six, kind of like prevented them from. I mean, because those guys will they. I mean, by the letter of the book, they're fouling a lot, but like
Hmm.
a lot of what they do that it normally gets let go, and it's I think that's really one thing that's about their D. They're just ultra aggressive, and they got the people to really hound you and just to keep at it with their speed and athleticism. So I think I mean if that whistles if they're not really blowing anything, it's calling anything. This I think it's gonna fall into their favor a lot just because of their
Hmm.
defense. But and that's the one thing for all the inconsistencies the Thunder have had, what we've been talking about. The one thing that always just is there is defense. It's the one thing that travels well. I mean, they're at home, but just the one thing that you can always rely on. And
Yeah.
their defense has been solid. So the one thing, and what do you think Miles Turner's do? It just feels like I don't know. It's just I mean maybe he's just maybe we're kind of projecting just because I mean I've always thought he's really good. I've always been high on him. So just to see him kind of just not play to the level I thought he was, and I mean because he was what was in this game? He was 1 for 9, which is I mean in this whole series. So
I mean, I think you can say like maybe Miles Turner's due, but then does that mean Obi Toppin's due for like, not a hot game? You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. So you're right. It could go both ways, but yeah,
but I mean, he is. I know what you're saying.
yeah,
He's not a player that should be playing. But
yeah,
just with Chet,
yeah.
I know you never know, but I think just the my key X factor is he's been playing great the whole series, but if this game seven, I think if
Mm,
he is Pascal Siakam, like if
hmm
he's because I was talking with like my dad, we were watching the game, and like sometimes when you watch the game, it's like he's playing good, but it's like you look up the box score and he has like 20, and he kind of has a quiet 20, but
hmm
he's making impactful plays on defense.
Yeah,
And I think he's kind of been like that his whole career in these playoffs where it's like a lot of these games, it doesn't feel like he has like whatever 20, 30. But
yeah,
then you see the box when he has 20, 30. And he's also just, running the floor, getting offense rebounds, playing good defense. So I think if they do end up winning the series, he's probably going to win the finals MVP.
yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Oh, I 100% agree with that. Shout out to TJ though. I don't think he's
Yeah.
gonna win it. I mean, maybe if he has some type of crazy game winning or like just I don't know, he would have to have some historic thing happen in this game seven just because he hasn't
Hmm.
played enough. And like you said, Siakam's just been
Hmm.
more minutes and impactful just on just every single aspect of the court. So I 100% agree
Hmm.
with you if they win, barring something just I don't know, some historic thing. I think yeah, Siakam would win it. Yeah.
We didn't talk about the game five really. That I mean, we're talking about TJ McConnell. Do you think that was like a bad decision by Carlisle? Because TJ McConnell was basically keeping them in the game, and or was that game four, or game five?
I think it
Game
was,
five, right?
yeah,
And Nemhard had like terrible game, like
yeah, yeah,
overs. He wasn't even playing. I get their position was he's playing defense on Shea, but it's like his defense wasn't that good. He had like 3 or 4 turnovers, and McConnell literally like had
yeah.
like
He
10
was,
in a row. And then he just sat out like most of the fourth quarter. So do you think that was a bad coaching decision, or do you think you would have done the same just because of defense and like that is your best group of guys?
yeah. So in the moment, I thought you should have kept him in. Um,
Hmm.
it's easier. I mean, it's real easy to say that now, but that's what I was just thinking while it was happening. But like,
Hmm.
when they took him out, but. Yeah, I didn't agree with it. I mean, it's hard to kind of argue, you know. I
Mhm.
mean, shout out to Rick Carlisle. I mean, he's been coaching great,
Yeah,
but
he's a great coach.
and
Yeah.
like you can't really blame him for, like you said, he was just putting the best on the floor, you know. And
Mhm.
we were talking about all this stuff about Nemhard earlier in the season, where do we trust them and stuff, and so you can't really blame him for that. I don't think, but
Yeah, no, you're right. It's just in the moment, it was like, why is
yeah,
Tatum not on the court? He literally
yeah,
was saving you guys. But
yeah,
I mean, you never know. And maybe you're just saying that in retrospect. Maybe he gets tired.
yeah.
He's not playing the same way, and you still lose that game. So
Yeah, and then maybe I mean, we just saw the situation where Neymar didn't come through, but like
yeah,
there's the other
exactly.
side where he could have, and
And Lamar he had a bad game, but he's been good, like
yeah.
defensively. In that game one, he had some big shots. He had a good game. I mean, I know this was kind of a blowout, but
Oh, I
he
do
had a
have a
good
question
game.
for you.
Yeah.
If the Pacers win, right, would this would this be an all-time collapse?
I don't think so, because I
You
don't
don't
think
think?
the Thunder have like not to like remember LeBron against the Mavs. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like Shea's had like that type of series or even
Okay,
Jaden.
that's the one point. Okay.
And like I don't think they've played bad at all. I think it would more just be like I get Chet, but like even Chet, it's not like I don't think it's like your expectations are high for Chet, but it's not like
Mm-hmm.
LeBron or something or like Shea or something. It's more, I just would give it the props to the Pacers, unless they're like up by like whatever 30 in game seven and they lose that lead or 20. But it's not, and they're not up by 3-1 in this series.
Mm-hmm.
They're the overwhelming
They were
favorite.
up 3-2 though.
Yeah, they're up 3-2, but even like the 3-2, uh like the Pacers won game one, so it's not like it was 1-0 Thunder.
Mm.
I don't know. I think everyone's kind of hating, or not hating, but like because like all the betters or the Thunder were the overwhelming favorites. I don't think it would be an all-time collapse just because of how well the Pacers played. I think it would more
Mm.
just be like props to the Pacers. Do you think it would be?
Yeah, I think it would be all-time collapse. I do agree with one of the point, or I think one of the points you brought up was good about, even though there's been some times where Shea, and it was in a lot of their losses, even though by the stats it looked like deep, it didn't look like he played bad. I didn't think he really had an overall good game. Thought he was forcing a
Mhm.
lot of shots, but definitely wasn't. No, he hasn't had any like you said with LeBron in 2011, right?
Yeah.
There hasn't been any of that, so. But I think that kind of even sort of kind of makes it worse. Like forget the odds, like minus 700. I mean, they're one of the most favorited finals team in history just by the odds, but like forget about all that. It's just like I know everyone talks about 2016 as this collapse, but I mean, like with that, you just it was kind of a collapse, but it was more so just I mean, LeBron and Kyrie just hit a different, level. You had prime LeBron just hitting like just in his prime
Oh,
peak
I was
performance.
talking about LeBron in 2011.
Oh no, I'm just bringing this up in terms of
Oh yeah.
like I know everyone views that as a collapse because 3-1, but it's just like you just had the greatest player probably of all time, especially like in the league at the time, just playing the best basketball ever, in his career, and
Yeah.
so it was just like you said, there's not really that here. Like Siakam's been playing great, but you don't have Halliburton or Siakam playing at this all time just crazy level, where it's like it's understandable. Like the Thunder should like they just shouldn't be losing this. It should be over already, and it's just the
But you
inconsistent.
really, I don't know. I give the Pacers a little more credit. I
No,
just,
I'm definitely giving the Pacers credit, but just I think we're forgetting. We were talking about the Thunder, and Thunder fans were going crazy about this as this all-time team. They won 68 games in the regular season. You're not you're just supposed to. Especially just because of they won 68 games because of the talent they have. Their roster is
mm,
just completely constructed good. They have the MVP on their team. You're just this series should have been over in five or six at the most. Like you shouldn't have lost that game one. You completely collapsed. And I mean, credit to the Pacers where they're getting this done. But if you're the Thunder, it's just I mean, these inconsistencies are just for an all-time team because we're talking about them at being this all-time team, I can't put them there even if they win this anymore. Like that's the conversation we were putting them in. But
I guess where I disagree, and I guess you put him, or I guess other people, I never saw the Thunder as an all-time team. Like
oh,
at,
I never saw them as it, but if I saw certain things in this playoff run, I was willing to put them there just because of. this historic season they had. Plus, if I saw a certain type of dominance in the postseason like we do from these all-time teams, I would have been willing
I
to
guess
at least put them in there just because they're also probably gonna be in title contention for the next couple of years too, or for a while. But,
I think even if they beat the Pacers in five, I think they would have to go on they would have to like the Clip or yeah the Nuggets series went to seven.
mhm.
I don't know. So I just even like say I know if we're talking about like even if the Warriors didn't get hurt and they beat the Timberwolves, I probably would have the Warriors like not even biased as beating the Thunder. So in my opinion, I never had the Thunder as like I think they had a good run and I
Yeah.
think they had favorable matchups, but I didn't see them as like a 2017, 2018 Warriors with KD or like a Miami Heat LeBron or
No,
a what's
I,
or Kobe Shaq.
I agree with you, but people were putting them in there because of or they were getting ready to put them in there if they depending on how this playoff series went. That's what I'm saying. I disagree with that just because of what we're seeing now, which is
Would
another reason why I'm not ever gonna put them in that conversation. But
not to I guess make this a rampage, but would you take the Celtics from last year or the Thunder from this year?
oh, Celtics from last year. Yeah.
And I know a lot of people. I actually thought that's one of the best teams of all team time
Yeah.
constructed, just because they had five guys that were
Hmm.
basically all stars that could shoot,
And then their depth too. But
and then their depth too, and then wings. I just the Thunder. I mean, they're young. They do have a good team, but like I think they have pieces that like they can get better.
mhm.
Like I mean, I don't know. I know we talked about this another time, but it's just like Shea being the lead guard, I don't know if he's really a full-time point guard, and then off the bench, they don't really have a point guard. So
Yeah.
we talked about how they have a lot of guys that can all distribute it, but I think we've kind of seen that like it's kind of hurt them. Like Shea's had a couple games with just a lot of turnovers. So I think
And
he
the
would
oh sorry.
I just my last name is I just think he would benefit from someone like maybe feeding him and he can play more of an off-ball role. Maybe not starting or full-time, but like maybe he has a backup point guard off the bench or something like that. So
Yeah, no, that's a great point. 'Cause just because the rhythm thing is a thing that's huge. Like, I mean, that's what happened in Game Six when they went on that crazy run.
mhm.
I'm yeah, Game Six in that crazy run. I mean, just they get everyone to just this great rhythm because of how they're playing, how they're moving the ball, and just how they're getting out in transition. Um, and with the Thunder, sometimes, like you said, like just with Shea, it's just I think there's times where he just kind of forces shots. He's trying to create his own rhythm, get into his own rhythm, and it's at the detriment of some other people. Like no one else is getting in a rhythm. So when those time comes where they need to hit those shots, they're just not ready, or they're just not in a good rhythm at all. And
Yeah.
I agree with you where it's if they'd had like a true kind of point guard with facilitating and just I think the balance and just that flow would everyone would get involved just really good, better, which would help them. So I agree with that. Which is yeah,
Yeah, that's why I love Tyrese Halliburton's game is just
yeah,
because I mean, yeah, sometimes like, oh, you don't know if he's gonna create his own shot, but just like he makes everyone like he makes everyone on the court better. Like Aaron Nesmith's a way better player with Tyrese just because he gets these catch and shoot. Ben Shepherd, Obi Toppin looks great. And then even with McConnell off the bench, it's like he's not the same type of passer Halliburton is, but he just pushes the pace. Everyone, they're just like such a good team oriented, like they play such, I mean, like the right way
yeah.
where down the stretch, it seems like anyone like Rick Harlow has trust in like 10, like basically his whole team, and they all seem confident to take that shot at the end of the game. Like Nemhard, Halliburton, Siakam, where at the end of the game, like you said, okay, see, it's like Shea does these plays like where it's like you can't really, I guess you can't really hate because he's the MVP and he makes those tough shots, but that's, and like maybe he's not a point guard because a point guard's mind, it's like, I'm gonna get these guys involved. So then
Hmm.
down the stretch, I can trust them. I'm gonna get my own bucket. And Shea, I don't know if he has that.
Mm,
So that's the only thing where maybe that's how he develops as a player, where
yeah.
it's like, I'm the point guard of this team. I'm gonna be a point guard. I'm still gonna get my buckets, but if they lose this series, he has to, really, I think that's the one thing he has to develop is like,
You know, I
my,
agree with you. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I just, I mean, all the narratives. Even if the Thunder win it, I just don't see them as this all-time historic. I don't think it would. obviously they had a historic regular season, but I just don't view them there.
Hmm.
And like, I mean, did you hear all the narratives about, people comparing Shea to 2016 Curry? People were saying he had a better season, he was a better player. Like, I think just all that was crazy. It's just
I
all that
haven't heard much of
futility.
that, to be honest. I feel like from what I see is the Thunder are more like because they're not a big market. I don't see that much, to be honest.
Mm,
Praise might not be watching the same stuff you're watching.
mm.
And
Yeah,
they're still
yeah.
young, but
No, I
I
saw a
don't,
lot about 26, like they're comparing, they're like, oh, he had a better season. And it's just, yeah.
yeah, I don't know
But
about all that. I
yeah.
disagree with that.
But yeah. I mean, I think like it would be. I'm not trying to discredit the Pacers, and if they win, when we get on our pod, I'll give them a whole bunch of credit. But I still think it'd be all time just a collapse.
Do you think if the Pacers win this series, they're the favorites for next year?
Um, trying to- I th no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't put them as the favorites. I know that's a little disrespectful, but we see that happen all the time where a team
Yeah,
that
like,
isn't the favorite. So I wouldn't. I think a lot, like even if Katie didn't get traded, Giannis didn't get traded, like I would still not have him as a favorite, and that can shake up things even more, if those two go to like real contending teams. But
yeah.
I wouldn't. I would still have the Thunder as a favorite next year.
The NBA has so much like parity. It's like I don't even know who's like the
Yeah,
favorite.
yeah.
Especially with I thought Boston was going to be the favorite for a couple of years, but
Mm-hmm.
they kind of came crashing down. And too bad
Yeah, and then
Tatum
the
got.
Tatum injury just brutal. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't
What
it's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
what about the where do you think the Magic are now?
Oh yeah, we can
Because
pivot to
you
that.
you were high on the Magic.
I don't I like Desmond Bane and I like the fit, but if I had to grade it for each team, I'd give it an A for I'd give it like an A minus for the Grizzlies and like a C for the Magic.
Mm.
Or I'll give it a C plus for the Magic. Because I've kind of been going off and on. What would you before I give my explanation, what would you grade the trade?
Yeah, no, I typically I'm around the same with you. Like I think it was great for the Grizzlies. For the
Hmm.
Magic, um, it's hard for me to give an exact grade because I think it's actually like what they kind of need, right?
Hmm.
But I mean, I just thought what they gave up was crazy, you know? Like I think
Yeah.
it's actually a great fit for what they have, and I think their team's going to be a lot better, especially they're in the East. I think they're going to be a really decent team, or a really good team. I just thought what they gave up was crazy. But,
I think I'd maybe give it a B minus now. I probably had a C minus before. It's
mm,
like, oh, like for the Magic, it's just like now that I look into it, I don't think it's as bad or not. I never thought it was bad because Desmond Bane is like a perfect fit, like that
yeah.
two guard shooter.
Hmm. And
But
I
now
think it's underrated how he's one of just a few players that can really create his own shot, like motion shooter, like off the dribble, just movement shooter. I mean, movement
yeah.
shooter. He's great. Just, I mean, there's very few people that can do that consistently and shoot well, movement shooting.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
And like KCP had a bad season. He's basically a bad contract.
yeah.
Cole Anthony's basically a bad contract. Like they're two players that I don't think so. It's basically four first round picks. And they're going to be good in the East. So it's like four to five picks and in the 20s. I don't know. Now that I'm looking at it, it's not terrible. It's still a lot because like
Hmm.
that's basically their move. Like they can't trade for a Trey Young, they can't trade for a LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
Like they can't do that. That's their move. But maybe that's a better maybe Desmond's a better fit. I still think they lack some playmaking, maybe point guard play,
Yeah.
but maybe they just view it as like the Celtics. I think they're getting compared a lot to the Celtics. I don't
Mm.
know if that just with like the front like Franz and Paolo being like the two like forwards that are basically the point
I
like
get it, but I think that's still crazy.
and then like Jalen Suggs kind of a Derek White.
Mm.
So I guess baby version of them. And like you said, like I think a lot of teams like the Raptors are trying to get KD. I think like they see like an opening in the East, like they see the Pacers damn near
Mm.
might win the championship, and they're like, you know what, we can do that. And maybe the
Yeah.
Magic, that's what they think. So that's why I honestly don't hate it, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, no, I agree. And it's like we said, Desmond Bane's definitely just a perfect fit alongside those. It's just hard for me to see them like really competing for a title in the East. Like I still think they're gonna be great in the regular season. The one thing is just, I mean, if it because Paul, Paula and Franz are still super young and they're just getting better every year. So it's like they could take another leap.
Hmm.
And, I mean, they both already had great seasons this season. So that's
I
another
like.
thing that can just, I mean, if they take just another leap too, it's just
Mhm.
they're gonna be dangerous and they could probably. It's hard just because I mean we haven't ever seen them in those type of moments, so it's hard for me to say that they're gonna be great in those moments when they need to. So, but it gives them a chance. I thought the Grizzlies were gonna push for KD right after did this, but
I'm glad they didn't
that's what I thought. But when
as a
I saw
team.
this, I was like, oh, they're about to go right for KD. But
I think they're doing a good job, the Grizzlies. I think they realize like I bet they I don't even think Desmond Bane, I don't know. I don't know if he was on the trade block. I think they might have just got the call and you're like,
mm,
even if Desmond Bane's not on the trade block, you're like 4 or 5 first round picks for Desmond Bane.
yeah,
His contract's already not it's not a bad contract, but like when they're paying Ja and Jaren and it's
yeah,
like an apron thing, like they have to let go of some money. So I think it's like a really good trade for them where they can like not like, go full rebuild, but like maybe like because the West is so stacked, take a season or two where like they realize they're not going to beat the Thunder. They're not going to even, they're probably not going to beat maybe Minnesota, but like they're that, tier two, tier three West team.
mm,
And I don't think they're going to, do you think they're going to trade Ja or Jaren?
I don't know. Um, I. I thought Jaw was gonna get traded, but I don't know after this trade now. I view him as a tier three team too, so it's tough. But
I kind of had to, I know this is going to sound crazy, but like, or I just kind of want to gauge like, what would be like do you think Ja still has a very high trade value?
I don't think it's definitely not as high as it was at its peak. But at its peak, they would never have thought of consider trading him, you know. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I really don't. I don't think it's that high. Um,
I'm asking that just because it's kind of it doesn't even have to do with how good Ja is, but more just the whole second apron
mhm.
scouting thing is just like I think I don't know if like players like Ja are like I don't know if you're getting like 5 first round picks. I guess you just got it for Desmond Bane, so maybe I'm crazy. But I think he might have a better value than Ja just because he's more fittable, if that makes sense. Where Ja,
I
like,
know what you're saying, yeah.
do you think Ja could be the number one on a championship team?
Uh, I I I think you. I'm gonna say no, but I think if the perfect team is like if he was on, I honestly think if he was on a perfectly constructed team like the Thunder, he could potentially be number one, I don't know, and win the championship. But
Like,
the team would have to be like perfectly built.
like if he was on the Pacers instead of Tyrese,
Oh,
yeah, they might be actually a
yeah,
championship.
yeah, yeah. You're right. Oh, yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, I think he could. Yeah, yeah, you're right. That's a good point. Yeah.
I'm just saying that because like, say like the Heat trade 4 or 5 first round picks for him,
Mm,
um, and they mortgage their whole future, and they're like whatever highest paying team. I just I don't I guess they're in the East, so they have a little bit of a chance, but like I don't know if teams are gonna mortgage their whole futures to be like
yeah,
second exits.
yeah.
I think just the superstar training might just be a little harder because
I
like
definitely agree with you. That's a great point.
I
Yeah.
don't know if that completely makes sense, but
No, no, no. You hunt that, and I completely agree with you. The whole thing. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So it'll be tough, but
mhm.
yeah.
So I guess same thing with Jaren because he's making so much, but he's a really like I think he's a player like a lot of teams would want just because he can
Hmm.
shoot defensively and stuff.
Yeah, all world defensively.
So I think they can get a lot of picks for him too. So that's why, and they have some good young pieces. So I don't know what route they're going to go. Maybe they kind of remind me of the Pacers in some sort of element where they have like good role players, like good 3-and-D guys, like what's it called? What's the guy from Sonoma State? The rookie, Jalen Wells. He kind of reminds me of like a Aaron Nesmith kind of thing. And they just kind of have players that play well off Jaw. Jaren's kind of like a Miles Turner, better, but like I just in the West, it just seems like I don't know. It just seems like I don't know how far that team's going. And then
Mm,
Jaw's getting, just his injury stuff is where it's like that's where it's like you don't know if you can trust that. So
mm. All right, do you want to just do some quick game seven predictions real quick? Just talk about what we think is gonna happen, who we got.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right,
What do
you
you
want to go first or you want me to go first?
you can go first.
All right, I got the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
More, I just think they're gonna win. I really don't know who I'm rooting for still. The more and more I watch the series, the more and more I want the Pacers to win. Like in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, I wanted the Thunder to win, but I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't, to be honest, I wouldn't be upset either way. But if the Pacers win, I mean, I wouldn't really care either way. But I just think the Thunder. I mean, even though I haven't been high on them as this all-time team, just because of what we're seeing, I just think they're by far the best team in NBA. It should be over, and I think one thing, like I mentioned before, just the defensive intensity and just I think how they're going to be allowed to play more freely, just with the whistle that's going to be called. I think they're just going to be able to disrupt the Pacers at like the point of attack where they
Mm-hmm.
can't get all those drives and kicks anymore. It's going to really stifle their defense. A lot of what we saw in game two, I think that's going to happen again. And the Pacers, I feel like it's going to get them out of rhythm a lot, enough to the point where the Thunder buy enough margin to build a lead. Um, even I don't expect. I don't really expect the all-time game from anyone, to be honest. Like I don't think anyone's gonna drop like 40 plus 50. Um,
I think
if they
so.
do, that can be. I think that would probably be the difference. Like if Tyrese dropped like 50, they're gonna win. It's just because of what's gonna happen when he's dropping that 50. And
Mm-hmm.
if, same thing with Shea on the other end or J Dub even. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I just think you're gonna get consistent, you know, decent enough games from Shea and J-Dub to just where that, just gives them enough margin because their defense is just going to be all world. And I think it's going to give the Pacers a bunch of trouble. So I expect them. I think I want to check the spread because I was just gonna. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I wouldn't be surprised if they win by double digits.
I probably a little bit of bias, but I have the Pacers winning. I predict a TJ McConnell game
Hmm.
over. I would say I'll predict like 18
Okay.
plus from TJ McConnell. Clutch shots. I predict a TJ McConnell and Andrew Nembhard game or
Okay.
Nim. Um, I don't know. That's just my gut feeling. It's gonna be an OKC, so it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
I think Shea will have a good game. Um, and I don't know. I'm hoping for a good game. I don't know. I feel like there's the predicting in a game seven like this. I know we saw like whatever we can predict like the X's and O's, like the Pacers, are playing great in transition, Thunder on ball defense and all that. But I think game seven, it's like I'm not saying everything's thrown out the window, but it's like this is just one game. And it's like
Yep.
I feel like there's not even much predicting. It's kind of just we'll see what happens.
Yep. Yep.
Like
Yep.
from everything I've seen, I can't really take anything from it where like I can if I was a gambler, I can predict it and actually expect to win. It's more just I hope the Pacers win, but I hope to see a good game. And yeah, I don't know how to predict it just because it's a game seven.
Yeah. The only thing that I would mention, if anything, is just the Thunder defense. Just
Hmm.
we've seen them beat like for how much people are talking about them as an historic. They do have an ex historic defense, and they just can't get to this level that it's an all-time level defensively. Because they got like eight guys in their rotation that just are gonna hound you. But or like five. Like off the bench, I mean that's the thing that I think their roster's constructed great. They got just defensive guys that are coming off the bench. So if you're so for all the Pacers guards and all like that, they're just it's 48 minutes of straight like you're just gonna be hounded and it's tough. But I mean that's like you said, that's what's great about Game 7. Anything's gonna happen. So it'll be great to talk about it after. But
Yeah.
do you if TJ McConnell has some just like I mean just the impact he's had in a bunch of these games, game saving just like plays at the end and hits the game winner. Is that Finals MVP worthy, or do you just think Siakam has just done too much already and just because of
I
how?
think I think it would be like have to be like 30 points game winner.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
Connell to win it. I don't think if he got like 16 in a game winning steal and assist, I think he'd be like a hero and everything.
yeah,
I think Siakam's just unless Siakam has like a stinker like 2 point game and they win. But
yeah.
I don't know. I just don't see that happening. And or I guess to flip the question, do you see? I know there are people arguing this. I'd never really understood it. Do you see if say Jalen Williams has a 40-point game and Shea maybe has a 20-point game. Jalen Williams kind of takes over at the end. Do you see him getting Finals MVP?
I think it's possible, especially because what we saw with Iguodala and Steph. I mean, I know it's a decade later, so it's tough, but because a lot of people were just viewing, that just the move to insert Iggy in there and just, him, even though LeBron went crazy, still just, it made a very big impact, and they kind of
Mhm.
ignored the fact that, it was all created by Steph, all the doubles he was getting, just the movement, like
That was still a
it
scam.
was Steph creating everything. It's just I feel like that could kind of happen again, where it's just like they see a little bit of his bias too. Just if you have 40 in a game seven, that's crazy.
Mhm.
Um, I could definitely see it happening, but
Yeah, that was a scam, that Finals MVP.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I love Iguodala, but it's not even like he shut down LeBron.
yeah, yeah.
It was more just like a good story. Like he did make a difference by going the
Oh,
starting lineup.
100%. But it's just like everything on the offensive end, it was all Steph. Just all they were all just the point of attack, him getting doubled, him creating all the just everything. But
Yeah,
so
exactly. I think
I,
MVP or secret weapon, you give it to the MVP, not the
yeah,
secret weapon.
that's what. Yeah, yeah. So, what do you
But
think?
Jay,
Do you think they would give it to him or no?
nah, I think
No.
Shay's been.
Okay.
I think it's been like Shay's been the number one, and Jalen Williams is. It's not even like because Iggy wasn't even the number two. I feel like
Yeah.
that year. But J Dub is like the clear number two, and he has like been a. I know a lot of people argue like he's not a number two on a championship level team. I had one of my friends told me that. I'm like, nah, he's been a number two. He's been really good on defense and just like when he's had some whatever. I think last game,
I
of course he had stinker, but he's been really good. But it's just Shay's been the number one guy.
think people forget about that. His game evolved into just this pretty dominant offensive player. Um,
He came in as like a
he came in
defender.
as just a great just defensive player, do everything, did just and he evolved into to uh just a great offensive player, offensive threat. So
Yeah, he started off as like a shooting guard. Now he's like a small
yeah,
forward power forward. He got a lot stronger. He got a
yeah.
mid-range three ball. So yeah, shout out J Dub.
That touch around the rim is great that he has. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finishing. But I mean, that's all that we have for you guys today. I mean, game seven. What do they say? The best two words in sports. But so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But we'll have a pod right after it happens. But other than that, peace.
Peace.